Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust, I get fairy dust, little Amelie gets fairy dust. And it's time to talk about the 12 steps and my eating disorder recovery journey. Why am I singing? Okay, so we were talking about powerlessness, and I'm talking about step one. And step one is we admitted we were powerless over blank, and my life had become unmanageable, and our lives had become unmanageable. So there's definitely resistance to the fact that we were powerless. And if you watch the video before this, you can see that if you want to stop doing something and then you do it again, you are powerless. That is a hint of powerlessness. If you wanted to, I'm gonna clean the house every day, and then you wake up one day and you're like, I don't want to fucking clean the house. That's powerlessness. That you have succumbed to another power. Your frontal lobe said, hey bitch, clean your house. Hey bitch, you'll be happy if you clean your house. You should go on a walk. You should write in a journal. You should, and then you're like, yeah, let's say you fully subscribe that, yes, I should do that. I want to do that. Like, let me do that. I can't wait. And then you don't do it. That's powerlessness. We're powerless to the other parts of us that are interested in other things. You know, I may be interested in sobriety, but my psyche is interested in a lot of other things, mainly in my own survival. And if it detects discomfort or gets triggered by something or someone, a food, a memory, an encounter, it will say, holy shit, all systems go. We got to save this bitch. Let's make her think about her next binge. So that's powerlessness. We are powerless over, and that's how we can identify our powerlessness, is if we want to do something and we don't do it. That is a hint toward some kind of powerlessness. And I really liked, so I got this information from something outside of the 12 steps, but it actually has helped me work with the 12 steps. And again, if you are triggered by information that is new or is different from the way that you think about your addiction, like, tread very carefully. Like, if it's working, don't mess with it. Do not mess with it. It has just taken me years and years and years for me to find the right combination to free me from my addictive thoughts and addiction itself and relapse. So this is not for everyone. This is not for you. If you are sober and are in recovery, you don't need this, because I'm about to introduce something that's outside of the 12 steps. So here I go. So there's a program that called Rational Recovery, and it has a lot of, I don't know much about it. I just know just a little bit that I learned from another book called Brain Over Binge. And I found that book to be indispensable in my healing from 12-step program, and it has a lot to do for me with the word and the reality of my powerlessness by introducing the concept of the addictive voice. Now, I already knew that I had an inner saboteur. I already knew that I had a superego, for me, it's easier to think about my superego and my inner saboteur being the same thing. Some people call it an inner critic. Remember, Freud coined the superego as the part of us from childhood that identifies with the rules and what's right and what's wrong and what we should and shouldn't do, and then our superego rules our life, mostly with the information that we learned in childhood. And so it's the part of us that says we should do something. You should be better. You should Da 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 da. And the word should is a good indicator you're dealing with your superego / your inner saboteur. And now I will add addictive voice. Addictive voice is very helpful to me. The language is very helpful to me. But you can also say your addiction or your disease. And again, if the word disease pushes your buttons, deconstruct the word dis-ease. Are you at ease when you're in your addiction? 100% no. You're disease. So if you need to say it dis-ease, fine. But and also mixed in there is the what do you call it? The the lizard brain, the very basic level of thinking. The lizard brain wants what it wants. The lizard brain wants to not be ever uncomfortable. And so it's very helpful for me to think about that because so ultimately all of that is to say, and P.S. I will link the Brain Over Binge book in the description if you're interested in that. I found it to be very helpful and a very, very powerful and accurate critique of eating disorder therapy. Just interesting concepts. Again, please, so sorry if buttons are pushed. Again, that means it's not for you. So just, because I don't want to wreck anybody's recovery that's actually working. Okay. So, P.S. Katherine Henson also has, that's the author of Brain Over Binge. She also has a workbook and she also has a podcast. So if that's of interest to you, you can find those things. Okay. So when I say my addiction is making me do this or that, it's too fuzzy. But if you say addictive voice, if I say addictive voice, it's like, yes, I get that. Because it's the voice of my addiction. And the voice of my addiction are thoughts. And the voice of my addiction is me inside my own brain. My addictive voice is a part of me. And part of my advanced bitchifesto, wink, is we become, I can't even quote myself. We decline the participation of our inner saboteur. So we get really good at understanding which part of us is our inner saboteur. But we can't, there's the phrase, what you resist persists. We can't just say no, 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 because eventually we will give out and then that addictive voice will take over. And, the addiction will take over and I'll relapse or, start using again. And I don't want that. So it's really, really, really important for me to note what is my addictive voice. And, you could say recovery voice if you want to. But what's so great is that addictive voice doesn't get to control us. The addictive voice, if we recognize it for what it is, we can decline its participation. And so here's an example. This is the classic example everybody says, so might as well say it. So don't think about polar bears. When I call up the term polar bears and I say don't think about them, what will come up is visions of polar bears or even the words polar bear. Or maybe a Coca-Cola commercial. Polar bears. Don't think about it. It's like, that's not how human brains work. And so the long story of this whole journey I've taken you on thus far is to show you are actually powerless over not thinking about polar bears. Now don't think about fireworks. You're powerless. Your brain just produces the idea of fireworks or an image of fireworks or a 4th of July fireworks. Like, you're powerless over, your brain, just like you're powerless over making your lungs stop breathing. Good luck with that. Also, you're powerless over your heart beating. Good luck with that. Your heart is going to beat with or without your power. Your lungs are going to continue to breathe without your power. If you decide to hold your breath, your body will pass out. It will override you. So you will breathe again. It doesn't give a fuck whether you want to stop, you want to hold your breath or not. It doesn't care. So we're powerless over these things, and our psyche mimics, for me, the psyche mimics this holding the breath, and then it's like, well, this bitch is gonna pass out because we're gonna save her fucking life. Okay, well, the addiction is misguided, and the inner saboteur is misguided, and it thinks it's trying to save our life, but it's not. And so we have to, so for me, all of this is to say, you are powerless, and if you don't think you're powerless, again, try to quit. Just stop doing whatever you want to stop doing. Just stop. If you want to stop drinking so much, then just have 1 or 2. Good luck with that if you're an addict. Because once one comes, how are you going to prevent the rest? You're powerless. You're powerless over thinking about polar bears. When I say don't think about them. So there is an element to our system, our psychological system and our physiological system, that we are legitimately powerless over. And it's just very helpful for me to understand how true that statement is, so I can just get on with my recovery. And I don't have to spend my time resisting the thought that I'm powerless. Let me just get on with my recovery, because I'm powerless. I am powerless over the thoughts that I want to eat between my meals. My food plan, my boundary with myself is that I have 3 meals a day. And so if I want to eat in between them, I can know that those thoughts are my addictive thoughts, because I know that the higher purpose of staying on a food plan serves my life better than trying to fuck it up by eating in between meals or whatever. So I'm just really good with being powerless over blank. I'm powerless over my addictive voice. I'm powerless over bulimia. I'm powerless over binging and purging. I'm powerless over binge eating disorder. I'm powerless. I'm just powerless. This is the brain I have. And so paradoxically, the psyche is always full of paradox. And a magical thing happens when you understand that you're powerless over these things. And that is, you become powerful. When you come to terms that this is the brain you have, this is the system you have, this is the inner saboteur you have, this is the addictive voice you have, this is how a human brain works, this is how addiction works. When you come to terms with that, you become powerful. If you are, and in the 12-step program, that they will say that that's your higher power, like that's the power, the higher power. And I agree, and I also think that it allows me, myself, to become powerful. But I only get that power by understanding that I am actually powerless over polar bears, over bulimia, over all that stuff. Just time has shown me, things have shown me time and time and time again. My experience has shown me time and time and time again that I say I don't want to do something. Do you know how many, it would be a very interesting data. I wish I could know this. How many times I said I would stop binging and purging after a certain day, a midnight. Sometimes I would I would binge all day. And then like 11, 45, like rush to the bathroom, purge. So then I could start the next day and I would never binge and purge again. Jesus, there's probably thousands of those days. How is that not powerless? I said I wasn't going to do it again, and I did it again. How was I not powerless over my system? So through the 12 steps and other information and other people who share their experience, strength, and hope, I have figured out how to make the steps and, again, other information, other data helpful to me to empower me to heal. So, you may have to, for a while, do some research about your own personal powerlessness. You may have to do some more research about that, and that will be fine. And then one day you may realize, oh, fuck, I actually may be powerless over this. That fucking bitch Elizabeth. I don't want her to be right. So I hope this is helpful. I guess this is, maybe there's just one other person that has to have because my inner saboteur is my addictive voice, my addiction, it is in and of itself advanced in a sense. And so I had to really make myself understand my own powerlessness for me to proceed in my recovery. And that's the whole purpose of this, is that maybe some of the conclusions that I came to might help you come to your own conclusions and might help you to put them in the mix with your own recovery. So I hope that's helpful. And next time we're going to talk about unmanageability. Love you. Bye.